it's just been really cool to sort of start to understand the Netflix chemistry and sort of the Netflix culture. A big part of why I decided to go is because the Netflix culture was sort of laid out to me during the recruiting process. And it's very much, like I said, my love language, which is break things, think big.
I'm happy for Elle Duncan. I'm happy that she is enjoying her new job at Netflix. I'm glad that her new employer effectively communicates with her in her desired love language, which is kind of strange. Uncle Casey doesn't get into all that psychobabble. I don't buy into all the talk about love language. I'm an empath. According to the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator, I'm an INTJ with a double dose of LGBT. I'm glad Elle Duncan is satisfied in her new role as the face of sports coverage at Netflix. But I'll tell you who's not satisfied. I'll tell you who's not happy seeing the beautiful face of Elle Duncan: Netflix viewers. More specifically, Netflix viewers who were tuning in last night to see coverage of Major League Baseball. For the first time possibly ever, straight American men were telling a beautiful woman to get off their TV. Now, in fairness to Elle Duncan, last night was not all her fault, although it was kind of unforgivable for Elle Duncan to refer to home plate as home base. You know who talks like that? My 66-year-old mother who knows nothing about sports. Hell, I'm surprised Elle Duncan referred to first base as first base. You know, that's not very equitable, you guys. It's not fair that first base gets designated as being first. All the bases are winners. There are no losers here when Elle Duncan's on the mic. The debut of Major League Baseball on Netflix was an unmitigated disaster. I know people complain about the broadcast networks, mainly younger people, but there's just something different when sports are broadcast on network television. For starters, the major networks, they actually know how to present sports, but the games have a different feel. They feel more important. When I was younger and I heard the voices of Pat Summerall and John Madden, I automatically knew this was the biggest game of the week in the NFL. On Saturday afternoons, when I heard the voice of Vern Lundquist, I knew I was about to watch the biggest game of the week in the SEC on CBS. Marv Albert with the NBA, Bob Costas, John Miller, Joe Morgan with Sunday Night Baseball. Their voices made the game feel important. And if you're entering the business of broadcasting sports, that is who you're competing with. These are the voices that you're going to be compared to. I know Netflix is just starting out. I know they're figuring things out as they go. But it's not like last night was a one-off. It's not like this was the first time that Netflix has completely botched a sports broadcast. Happened a couple of years ago with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Happened a couple of months ago when Elle Duncan was absolutely horrendous as the lead voice when that dude was climbing up the side of the Tower of Babel. But the backlash was more severe last night because it happened with Major League Baseball, a fan base that prides itself on tradition, and a fan base that doesn't expect excellence, they demand it. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I wanted to give you guys a final update on Chewy. For those that don't know, Chew is our oldest Yorkie. She's been fighting oral cancer for the last few months. Unfortunately, she's developed some type of infection in her mouth in the last week or so. We've been treating it with antibiotics, but the problem with it is it's caused the bottom side of her mouth to shift. Over the last couple of days, she was having trouble eating, but she was still able to eat a little bit, still able to take her medicine. But yesterday was absolutely brutal. Long story short, I woke up to feed her this morning and she seemed to be feeling better, but she took a bite and damn near choked on it. She was sitting there in my lap and she looked up at me and she was just staring at me. I could see it in her eyes that my little fighter just doesn't have any fight left in her. It was like she was telling me that I'm ready. Now, of course, I'm not ready. I was going to take her to the dentist for treatment or take her back up to Auburn, but I could just tell this morning that she's ready to go. She has been through so much in her life, heart issues, multiple ACL surgeries, pancreatitis. She's had infections back and forth. She has been through it all, and she's usually quick to recover, but this morning at the table, it was the first time I've seen Chew not willing to fight any longer. So that's where we'll be this afternoon, but likely there will be another video this afternoon like usual, just so I can keep my mind occupied. The questionable decisions from Netflix. It started last night with the pregame show. After Elle Duncan finished calling home plate home base, they cut to an interview with Jameis Winston. Well, Uncle KC, I didn't know Jameis Winston played baseball. I thought he played in the NFL. Yeah, look, I like Jameis Winston. Dude is a natural. He's charismatic. Definitely has a future in sports media. Normally, networks prefer to feature personalities that are associated with the league. I know Jameis Winston was drafted, but he never played Major League Baseball. It would be like having Drew Brees out there talking about a game between the Giants and the Yankees. Naturally, the exchange between Jameis Winston and Elle Duncan was a bit awkward. Watch it for yourself.
I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Jameis, did you pay for the crab legs?
Well, Elle, I may or may not be plotting to find ways to get some fresh crab legs, but a trusted source told me that ever since Barry Bonds retired from the San Francisco Giants, that sales have skyrocketed due to the decrease of baseball-related crab deaths.
Unfortunately for Netflix, that was not the worst part of the broadcast. Last night, Major League Baseball debuted their new ABS system. Now, from my understanding, this is an automated system that baseball is using to determine questionable balls and strikes. I guess it's the equivalent of a challenge in the NFL or the NBA. Apparently, baseball fans have been looking forward to it. There were complaints during the World Baseball Classic that the ABS system wasn't being used. Fifth inning last night, it's time for the immaculate debut of the ABS system. But there was just one problem, one tiny problem. Netflix refused to show the immaculate debut because they were conducting one of those doofus mid-game interviews that no one gives a shit about. Watch it for yourself.
I see your guys talking after they face Max Fried. What are they sharing? What are they seeing?
I think just the shapes of the pitches. I think there's a couple things that are different than maybe in the past, or some things that they've seen in particular tonight. So they're just trying to communicate and stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, Lauren, thanks. We've had our first ABS challenge.
There was either an abundance of weed smoke in San Francisco last night, or Netflix was broadcasting the game with cameras from the 1960s. But people could have gotten over the fog. How in the hell do you not show the debut of the ABS system? Instead of showing the challenge, you're conducting a meaningless interview with Tony Vitello, an interview that no one cares about. The biggest failure for Netflix last night, they failed to read the room. They proved that they have no idea what baseball fans want in a broadcast. During the pregame show, there were non-stop promotions for upcoming Netflix shows. John Cena made an appearance to promote his new Netflix movie. He also explained how the new ABS system was designed to work, which was ironic since fans didn't get to see how it worked live because Netflix was having a casual conversation with Tony Vitello about the damn weather. During the pregame show, there was a promo for Stranger Things. Some shirtless dude made an appearance to promote something called Free Bert, a classic love story where Bert falls in love with Bart. Some dude named Jay Uso was introduced to the live crowd in San Francisco. If you're a casual baseball fan, maybe you thought Jay Uso was the starting pitcher, but he was introduced to the crowd to tell them that WWE airs live Monday nights on Netflix. At a real sporting event, a legitimate sport, Netflix had a sports entertainer come out and promote orchestrated combat? Netflix proved last night they are not ready for prime time. They failed to read the room. Major League Baseball has a very passionate fan base. NFL does too, but there are a lot more casuals in the NFL audience. With baseball, there are a lot of diehards. There are a lot of traditionalists. And they are quick to complain when you don't meet their expectations. Last night, Netflix failed to meet expectations. I'm trying not to be too hard on Elle Duncan. I know all of this is new to her. This is not what she is used to, but that's also kind of the point. Elle Duncan is more associated with basketball. When she was at ESPN, she covered the NBA, hosted shows for the WNBA. Elle Duncan doesn't know a damn thing about Major League Baseball. I know Netflix wants her to be the face of their sports coverage, but next time, which I believe is the Home Run Derby, an event that Netflix can't afford to mess up, next time, it might be a good idea for Netflix to find a host that knows the difference between home plate and home base. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later, hopefully.